What is up, guys? It's Microdex here. So today we're going to be prepping and creating grain spawn. And what grain spawn is just mycelium growing on grain. And they will use that energy source to colonize other things. So today we're using birdseed because it's probably the most accessible thing to find. You can find it pretty much anywhere. But if you do use birdseed, make sure that it does not have any sunflower seeds. If it does, you can just do what I'm doing here in the video and pour some water in it. All the sunflower seeds will float to the top, and then you just skim them off the top. So if you don't want to use birdseed, you can use sorghum, you can use millet, you can also use brown rice, but there is like a par cook method for those. I would suggest looking those up just because you have to sterilize these for an hour and a half to 2 hours. So with pre-cooking it as well, it's very easy to burst the husk of the grain, and you really don't want that. You want the water content to stay within the grain. So here we are, just after we've soaked our grain overnight. We just fill our jars with it. After draining it, you want to make sure there's no excess water in there. And then we drill 2 holes in the tops of our mason jars or our PP5 plastic containers. And then we cover that with micropore tape. And we use micropore tape for gas exchange while it's being pressure cooked and sterilized. And also it helps the mycelium breathe while they're colonizing. And the micropore tape allows gas exchange, but it does not allow contaminants to get into it. It's not completely foolproof, but it works very well, especially if you keep aluminum foil on top of your cups and your mason jars while they colonize. It works very consistently, and all of these materials are really easy to find, so anyone can try this. You can even do this at home if you have a pressure cooker. So now we're just gonna throw all of our jars into the pressure cooker, and we're gonna cook these for 1.5 hours to 2 hours, depending on how much we have in there, at 15 psi. You can fill it all the way up. If you run out of space to vertically stack, you can lay them on their sides. It's totally fine. We're just gonna put the top on now, slide it to the side. Please read your instruction manual for your individual pressure cooker. This is an all-American. It works a little different from like a Presto. Just make sure you know how to use these. Make sure you put enough water in. So it's been a couple days since we ran the pot, but that's okay. It's cool now. We can move all of our ingredients from inside the pot to the sterile airspace so we can do our inoculations. We're going to do them all a little different from each other just to see different results. But let's get started. We're going to pop this open and move the stuff over there. Usually I would bring the whole pot into the sterile space and open it there. That way we go sterile to sterile. But this pot is actually wired to the wall, so we can't move it. So we're going to go from here to over there and start the inoculations. Oh wow, we have a lot to work with. All right, let's do it. So one of the biggest tips I can give you for having a high rate of successful inoculations with low contamination is to spray often and make sure you're not reaching over anything too much. You want to just really kind of do like a grab thing. When you grab things, you want to grab them from the sides. You don't want to reach over. So if you had any jars that were sideways, you're going to have your grain laying like this on the side. And I'm just going to give this like a light tap just to shake it up a little bit. Same here. So the perfect consistency for your grain, you want every grain to be individual. You don't want them to stick together. This is perfect because that means that all of the water capacity, all of the water, it should be at field capacity and not leaking out. So as you can see, there's no excess water. There's no excess water at the bottom of these. So, yeah. And typically you don't want to let your grain touch the top up here because if a piece of grain gets stuck to your filter, contamination could possibly get in there from that speck and then fall down, contaminate everything. So I try not to really touch the filter at all. Got a little sticker here. So I was just looking at a few plates and they look really good. I'm gonna spray my hands one more time. So I think we're gonna go with Sinense first, maybe. This is looking pretty. These are looking really good. So remember when we placed that single piece of grain onto the agar? Look at how that splayed out in those two directions. It just took off. That would be a really good place to isolate for another plate. And because it's showing that it's vigorous, you could even just show like the nutrient is more concentrated in that area. Maybe it's not completely even. But you always want to take the leading edge of the mycelium. It shows that they are quite possibly the strongest of the colony. And this is all Sinense. Ganoderma, also known as reishi. See the same starting to splay out. Looks like a snowy mountain, right? Really cool stuff. This is some of the most fun parts about fungal cultures is seeing how they express themselves. And you can see, oh, some people might say like, oh, is that contamination? No, the mushroom is actually, or the fungi has actually decided to start fruiting. So that's actually the reishi beginning to form on the plate. And I think that happened because you can see there's some condensation, some water in there. I think it hit the water and then used the water as nutrient to start that fruiting body. Pretty typical to see with gourmets. Which is why condensation on your plates doesn't really matter too much. If anything, it'll just make them fruit a little bit, and then you can just take a sample from the fruiting itself. This is another one. Really cool. So we're gonna watch that plate grow. I'm not gonna touch those. I'm gonna just let that grow for a little while, and we'll watch it grow on the plate. There's another one. It got a little interrupted for some reason. There's no contamination in there, but you can see the thicker mycelium came back. In between those two patches, there's some thinner mycelium. So these are all just, you want to grow out a lot of plates of the same species so you can familiarize yourself with how they look, so that when something arises, you know that's not characteristic of that species, and you can snuff it out before it gets too bad. That's how you can save a lot of cultures. So that was Sinense. We're going to take a look at the sidewalk reishi. Again, this is the one with 2 points. This is fully colonized. I'm actually super excited about this. This is this is raring to go. It really wants to colonize something else. This one is actually like perfection. That's super exciting. I love this. I love seeing this because we're going to watch it on this two-dimensional plane growing across. Then we're going to watch it on a three-dimensional plane doing the same exact thing,
but that'll be on the grain. And once they colonize that, we'll put them on substrate, we'll watch them do it again, and then they'll fruit. And I'm thinking about fruiting in a cup, maybe. We'll see. It'll depend on the species. So they all pretty much look like that. I'll quickly show you all of them. You can see the uniformity. So you want to see no surprises. All the same. Awesome. Very cool. Let's check on this lion's mane where we just use the liquid culture. Real quick, you can see those little specks of the liquid that permeated the agar started to branch. Oh wow, that is so cool. See, it's like swirling, kind of like a hurricane. That's super cool. They all pretty much look the same, the varying amounts of fractals. This is all very typical of lion's mane. Be swirly, just like its fruiting body. Pretty cool. We'll check on the cordyceps in a little bit. I want to get started. Yeah, these all look good. This is the wild lion's mane. You're gonna have to take that to a liquid culture maybe, but we're gonna go on that too. So before I start inoculating, I try to make some kind of game plan so it all goes very smooth. This is the wild lion's mane that's local. You can see this one it's like relatively established. You can take the one with the most growth, which would be this one. So I think we're only going to do this one here, and we'll have this for later. So we'll take the plastic off. Spray real quick. Loosen my jar. Over here. Spray my hands one more time. Our agar is actually pretty loose, but it'll help the mycelium spread because now they're almost in like a liquid culture. And so anywhere the agar touches, so will the mycelium. I'll just give them a little shake, introduce them, and we can be done with that one. So I'm going to show how we're going to handle a few of these plates. We're going to do the Ganoderma sinensis, which is this one. And then we're going to go into the sidewalk reishi. So this thing looks so potent. Looks like it really wants to fruit, so we're going to give it that chance. This one. We go. I'm going to do a few plates here, or a few jars. this in your jars.
So when you purchase your syringes and you use them the first time, they'll be sterile. So this syringe was sterile until I sucked up the mycelium into it. And so when I go to inoculate with it, I just flame sterilize the needle. I wait till it's red hot and then I make my inoculation. Typically, I would flame sterilize like each time I go to use it, but here I'm in a sterile flow and I already sterilized the needle, so it's kind of unnecessary to do it again. Just take note that if you do get contamination during your syringe inoculations, it probably happened due to a dirty needle. So just make sure you flame sterilize it so you're not introducing contamination into your grows. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So we're just making sure that we label everything so that we don't get all mixed up. We did a lot of work today. So while I'm inoculating, I'll take the petri dish that is associated with the grain and put them next to each other. And then I'll label afterwards just so there's not extra movement while I'm trying to be sterile. But yeah, guys, that was it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Hey, Microdex here. If you guys want to support the channel and save some money on some plant and fungi supplies, go and check out the Plant Cell Technology store and use the code Microdex to save 10%.